A very good evening, guys. Welcome to the evening show with AIESEC, powered by AIESEC, channel partner Unwinding the Youth, media partner Odisha Sign, sustainability partner Damon Earl NYSI, social media partner Desi Entrepreneur. We are back with the fourth episode of the evening show, and it has been an amazing ride all since. This time, we have an amazing speaker for you. As you can see, the theme of the show is to be the change you wish to see. Hence, we have a man with us that actually elaborates on this statement and gives you a clearer perspective of what life it could truly mean. You have seen the posters, you have seen the man's designation, but tonight it's all going to be about getting to know the man behind the poster, having amazing conversations and learning from him what exactly life could be when lived at a different level altogether. So, without further ado, Meet, if we could have the countdown on the screen and welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Sunder Madakshira. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sunder Madakshira. Pleasure having you here. How have you been? How was your day, sir?
Good evening, Uditanshu. Good evening to everybody from AIESEC Bhubaneswar. It's an honor to speak to the next generation of leaders in India. So I'm feeling fantastic actually, speaking to all of you. It's been a fairly relaxed weekend so far, and I'm looking forward to a exciting week ahead. As they say that there's no dull moment in companies like ours. So I'm looking at the coming week. It's been fantastic. Last few months, as you know, has been throwing up many challenges, and it's been interesting to wade through that season of change. So it's very appropriate that we have this title today about be the change.
Pleasure to have you here, sir. And I'm sure the audience is very much excited to have you. As I can see the comments section over here, it is blasting with different energies, right? So, Mr. Sundar, sir, we know that you're the head of marketing for Adobe India, but on a very intricate level, on a very minute level, we really like to know what exactly have you been doing as the head of marketing of Adobe India, and what is your day-to-day job description, and what are the key projects you're taking up. So it gives us a clear perspective of what exactly it is up there.
Wonderful. So as you rightly said, I'm the head of marketing for Adobe in India. Adobe, as you know, is one of the leading software companies in the world. We work with some of the world's best customers and enable them to provide the best digital experiences to their customers. As you know, the digital platforms have been gaining a lot of prominence over the years, and today they're the mainstay of how companies want to talk to their customers, how to want to keep them engaged, how do you want to even fulfill those needs that your customers have. So that's what we help our customers do. And my job here, as you said, as you asked me, was really about ensuring that Adobe's products and solutions are in front of the customers who want to buy them. We understand their needs, and we are able to provide the solutions that they need to get the best digital experience for their customers. So my work on a daily basis is precisely aimed at two things. One is building the brand, and the second thing is creating that demand that comes from it. So understanding the demand, bringing up the demand and fulfilling that demand. That's the second part. So on a daily basis, we do events, we do telecalling activities, we engage with our customers, we build case studies for them, and we run a fairly sophisticated digital marketing effort ourselves. We also spend a fair bit of time working with the sales organization to ensure that whatever demand that's created is actually getting converted into business for Adobe. And of course, the best part of this job is that Adobe has the most creative set of products, and it's absolutely pleasure to take such fantastic world-class products to the Indian customer. That's what we do.
Very rightly said, sir. Adobe products are pretty much in every one of our laptops. As a matter of fact, it's in my laptop as well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people watching the show also have them. Mr. Sundar, sir, without much delay, I would really like to bring this very prominent story that you shared with us. The story of Sachin Tendulkar. It really stuck with me, and I really look up to that story as an example that what life could truly be. So, if you could please share the experience with the audience here, and they could also know how exactly it's done, right?
Absolutely. So first of all, Uditanshu, all of you who have an Adobe software, I hope you have licensed versions of that. That's the first thing. The second thing, yes, I mean, this is, I was just reflecting with my wife some time back that, life has been so kind to me that I've had the opportunity to, really work with some of the greatest leaders in the world. It just happened. A lot of these things are coincident, you may say. But somewhere there, probably I've also sought these opportunities quite a bit. So once the story is like this that, I used to work for a financial services company, and we were shooting an ad for our product, and it had Sachin Tendulkar as its lead, the brand ambassador, and we had Prahlad Kakkar do the script for it, and I'd gone to Bombay for the shoot, and what we heard was something which I think stuck with my mind all the while. So Sachin, at the same time that he was recording, shooting for our ad, was also shooting for another beverages ad, and the script was like this. The original script was that Sachin is sitting on a parapet, and he's enjoying the beverage, and then Shoaib Akhtar, the Pakistani fast bowler, not fast bowler, very fast bowler, would come running towards him and bowl a bouncer, bowl at him. And what Sachin would do is that he will take his bat with one hand. The bat is kept next to him. He just takes the bat and hits the ball for a six. And after that, what happens is that there's a fly which is coming and disturbing him, and he just takes it and squats that fly and just drinks the beverage, meaning to show that this is drinking the beverage is fun, and if you consume this beverage, everything in life becomes very simple, right? That was the whole message. And what I heard from the people who were shooting that is that Sachin refused to shoot that ad. He said, "No, I'm not going to do this." And there was absolute panic because the whole setup, and everyone is ready, and shooting an ad takes a lot of effort. Though it's just played for 35 seconds, this ad would probably take about almost 2 years, 2 days, sorry, to shoot. Just to shoot, it takes 2 long days of scripting, rescripting, takes, retakes, because shooting an ad needs to be done very smartly. So what and there was absolute panic, as I said, and people didn't know what to say. So people were trying to persuade him, saying, "Look, somehow it's okay. Well, what's your problem?" So he said, "Look, it's facing a bowler like Shoaib Akhtar takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of talent. It's very difficult to even face the guy, let alone hit him for a six. And the amount of effort that a batsman has to put to hit a world-class bowler like Shoaib Akhtar is tremendous. I don't want to demean him. I don't want to demean him, and I don't want to demean my batting skills. They are not easy. Batting is not that easy. I might be playing well, but it's very difficult to bat." And everybody was telling me, "It's okay. Shoaib Akhtar is okay with it. What's your problem?" He may be okay with it. I am not. He's too great a bowler for me to demean him. I think it was a very important lesson for leaders that much you should respect yourself, and you should have that self-esteem, and I think you should also respect others into what they do. And that's probably the mistake many companies make when they undermine their competition. To me, the bigger lesson in business was never undermine your competition, and that comes only when you respect them and say, "Okay, look, they're doing great job, and we need just have to do twice as well as they do to be successful." It's a very interesting incident about uh, the value of self-esteem and mutual respect in your profession. It's a great leadership lesson.
Very beautiful said. So I would just like to add on a few things on that. I mean, this story, I consider it as having a very positive and a very impactful message towards it. My generation, especially the youth right now, we are always very fascinated about the celebrities' lifestyle, their shiny, their fast cars, their flashy clothes, their party lifestyle, and the fun lifestyle. What we don't see is what exactly made them become like that, right? the very humble characteristics, the personality development, the self development that they went throughout the course of the journey, it's what is absent towards our right. And as youth, it is very important for us to actually reciprocate to this and actually develop these characteristics in ourselves in order to actually achieve that pedestal where Sachin Tendulkar, as you rightly said, was. And it's very important to actually understand that it's not just about the money, I think, and it's also about having humanity in yourself and respecting the people in front of you.
Absolutely.
So as the theme of the show goes, be the change you wish to see. I would really like to know from you, what exactly do you think this line means to you, and how exactly do you think the youth around us can actually learn from this?
Yeah, I think this is, as we all know, it's a very famous quote of Gandhiji and probably one of the most repeated quotations in the world. You go to any bank, you go to any organization, they would have definitely put this somewhere. So this must would definitely not be new for thing. But I think it's very impactful. I think what there are a few things which come to my mind, and this is why I think I quote them. It's very sort of cream in my memory all the time. As leaders, I think we are responsible for bringing in change. If there was no change to be brought, then there is no, you can do a lot with managers. You don't need leaders, and they're very different people. Managers and leaders are different people. A manager has a designation, a leader might or might not have a designation. A manager only manages to do things, a leader leads. So there's a world of difference between the way these two functions are. So as leaders, we have to bring in change. We have to be able to see and sense the change that's happening on the ground, and be able to cater to that need, cater to that the changing sentiments of people, changing emotions, and see what is right and what's wrong. And oftentimes, even the best managers, even the best organization, even the best brands, best institutions fail to see what is coming ahead of them. It's very difficult to do that. So if you want to be successful all your life, you have to change with those types, right? There are many people, great brands, great organization, great products, great film actors, great leaders, great cricketers. You can name it. All of them who fail to make the change that one needs to make. Read a very interesting thing in a leadership book, which is a book called The Leadership Pipeline by Ram Charan. I would advise you to read it because it just is such a quiet book that it just came and went away, but it is something that has got some very interesting lessons on leadership. In that, there is a model which he talks about. He says that when somebody has to, come up in his career, it's like climbing a hill. All of us have always climbed a hill on a car, let us say, right? Driving a car or a two-wheeler, and then you're climbing a hill. So you go around like this, right? That's how you go. So your career is like that. You have to make turns. At each stage, you have to make turns to keep going up, right? What happens if you don't make the turn,
You
right?
crash. Yeah.
Right? So the same thing happens with careers. I think people fail to make the change. The best sales manager cannot be the it doesn't guarantee that he becomes the best head of sales. Similarly, the best head of sales cannot claim that he will make the best CEO. These are different skills, and we have to be cognizant. What got you successful at one stage in your career is not what you're going to be. Um, is going to succeed at your career. Now, today, many of you are students, many of you are young professionals. What counts today is a certain things, right? How are you able to study? How are you able to understand the lessons that people have? Your teachers give you. What have you learned from your friends? What have you learned from other people, other organizations, so on. But as you move on, something else will matter. If you join a company, it's about how you perform in that company. If you're an entrepreneur, it's about how you grow and start and grow your company. So those skills are very different from the skills that we have, and that is true of all our life. I think the mistake everyone makes, and this is very true of people who do their MBAs, is that I think somewhere there we start to believe that we know everything that is needed to be known, right? And that is the start of the downfall, right? I keep making fun. By the way, I'm an engineer and I'm an MBA too. So I'm making fun of myself as much as anyone else. And please don't take it literally. It's got a lesson in it. If you go to a doctor's clinic, right? What would you see? There would be a table, and on his table you will find some manuals, about what is the latest medicine which has come, what's the research that somebody has done. He has to attend research conferences and so on. If you go to a lawyer's office, it's full of these law books, right? Have you seen lawyer's office?
Yeah.
In a lot of law books, right? The only people who on whose table you will never find any book or anything from their learning is engineers and people who do their MBA. You ask them, they'll say, no, we are learning online. That's why we don't see anything on the books. But I will take that with a pinch of salt. But that apart, I think the lesson is that if you want to change, the number one thing is that for you to sense that change, that look, there is change happening in the world, and change in the business world, change in any real life situation, unfortunately happens very gradually till it hits us. Today we are all dealing with the COVID-19 situation. It didn't happen suddenly. It has its genesis over a period of time, right? Similarly, anything that you see, it takes certain time for it to actually develop. And there would be enough indications on the ground for companies to change, but they don't. So sensing that change is the number one thing. Second thing is be proactive in recognizing that change and acting on it. It's not enough, if you don't act on it. Typically, when change happens, people will say, two things, two types of reactions typically. One is, नहीं कुछ नहीं होए चला जाएगा. Many people even now believe that COVID is just one flu which has just come and gone, and some people somewhere there have got infected. That's not true. Uh, it is something which is fundamental. So don't be dismissive of change. Always hear what is going on and then decide what the change is going to be. And second thing, the other type of reaction that you get is people panic. Oh my God, there's change happening. There's a new product coming up in the market. What will happen to my brand? I think both these reactions are extremes and they should be avoided. First, sense the change and then decide what you have to be responding to. So, and the third one is to bring change. You have to believe in that change, right? And the best form of believe in that change is to be the change that you wish to see in others. So just imagine, how do you want your manager to be? Why don't you be like that manager, or who you think is the right is the ideal manager according to you? So once people as leaders, if you are leading a team, when they see that you have changed, you as an individual have changed fundamentally, they start to believe, oh my God, this person is serious about this, and we have to change. And he's shown us how to change. Till yesterday he was like this, now he's different. So I think that's the essence of being the change that you wish to see. Sense the change, understand how you're going to react to it, and be that change. It's the most powerful statement. If you've seen the movie Gandhi, which is my all-time favorite movie, if you haven't
Yeah.
watched it, please do. There is a beautiful scene which talks about there being a riot in Calcutta, and all the leaders are sitting around in Jinnah's house and discussing, how what should be done about the change, and nobody has an idea what is to be done. I'm sorry, I don't know whether it's Jinnah's house or someone else's house in that particular scene, but it's shot there. And then suddenly Gandhiji gets up and starts to walk away. And Pandit Nehru in that movie asks him, Bapuji, kahan ja rahe hain aap? So he says, Calcutta. He's saying, why are you going to Calcutta? He's saying, look, that's where the problem is. The problem is in Calcutta. What am I doing? He's sitting here. So he drove that change from the front. And to me, I think that's the greatest leadership lesson I have learned.
That's very beautiful said. So yeah, I mean, definitely change. Like you wish be the change you wish to see in this world. We can all relate to this because India as a country was under the British rule, and if not for a few set of people who actually wanted to see the change in the country, that they wanted to be a free democratic country, it would not have been possible. And it obviously begins with a set of people that spreads like a chain reaction, and the phoenix just rises. And at the end of the day, we are what we are in the end. And it's very important to actually be aware, as you rightly said, to be aware of the situation that is going on around us, and accordingly be versatile towards the change. Like we're not supposed to react, but we're supposed to respond. It's like two very different things, but two very meaningful things.
Very
Thank you
well
so much
put.
for that, sir. But yeah, so I would really like to know, and even the audience would like to know, when did you find your true calling and decide that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life as a CMO, as a marketing head?
I think I don't remember that exact junction. No apple fell on my head or anything like that. But what did happen, of course, was that it is. I think when I was doing my engineering, and I'm an industrial engineer, I realized that I have an inclination towards management, learning professional scientific management, something that I really seem to like. Um, and I wanted to pursue management. That was something which became clear. And I joined a company called Caterpillar, and and I was the industrial engineer in that company. And that's when my whole understanding of how is it to organize organize a production setup, how to be able to make it more productive, how do you schedule things, how do you plan things, came up. And that's when I decided that I want to be a manager. I got fascinated about the field of marketing by actually studying a little bit about it. I used to read a lot about management, and what stuck me was that marketing as a company, as a function in a company, can make a very big difference. Uh, Peter Drucker, the guru of management, of modern management as he's called, once said that innovation and marketing are the only two things which make money for the organization. Everything else is a cost. So if you just look at it, it's very true. How does a company make more revenues? It is by marketing itself, and it's by innovating and getting those products out. So those were the that I think was a turning point. And I did my B school. After that, I worked for 5 years, and I did my B school, and I did my summer project with Hindustan Levers, which is clearly the mecca of marketing and sales. I learned a lot in that summer project, and I was fortunate enough to have got a PPO, and which is called the pre-placement offer. And I joined them after that and worked there as brand manager for Close Up, and I used to head the beverages division in South. So very interesting life. But from then on, I think it's just been marketing all along. Every single day I wake up, I'd like to read about it, I like to talk about it, and definitely do more of marketing in my life. So yeah, that's how it started.
Well, definitely you have a lot of experiences, sir, and if we start listing them down right now, it would take at least 2 or 3 days to finish all this episode. But a very crucial experience of yours, which is you were recognized as one of India's greatest CMOs. So we really like to know what led to this massive achievement and what shaped your path to achieve this pedestal. Like what are the turning points? What are the learning experience? Your key moments in life that actually got you to where you are right now?
Yeah, so first of all, I think nobody starts a career to win an award or anything. I think it's about that passion, so that a person really likes to do, right? And that's where I think I'd like to share with all of you. You need to sit back sometime. We all want to move very fast. We want to achieve things very fast, which is absolutely the way you should do it. But you should also make some time to think back and see what do you really want to do in your life, right? If you see a CV, anybody writing a CV, on top there'll be something not want to work in a very challenging environment. Everybody writes this, right? Most people would write this. But is it what you really want to do? Do you really want to work in challenging environment? The answer, when you start digging in, is that that's not true. Most people don't want a challenging environment. They want a very cushy life. They want a good life. They want to make money. They want to eat. They want to drink, spend time with their friends, and so on. I think what we need to be clear is that whenever you want a career and aspire for it, it comes with a lot of sacrifices, right? You always have a choice of not doing something and doing something, right? And that is what I think is the first thing that one needs to bear. That you need to be prepared to make that sacrifice. You should be aware of it. So when you're making a career choice, my simple advice is always get to know what it takes. So you want a career in financial management. you should go and spend some time with a financial professional and understand what the financial profession actually demands. What does it take? What do they do on a daily basis? Because life is not about just going up and accepting awards. For that, one will have to do 20 years of work to get to that place. So it's very important to understand what it really takes. The other thing I think it's very important, what has kept me in good stead is the fact that I have very heightened expectations from myself and others. My expectations are high. I want um, you know so I would like to ensure that these standards are maintained. I my ask from myself and the others is always tough. So it's in some sense a little tough to work with me, I would say. And that has not come in isolation. I've been very fortunate to have worked with some of the best marketers. So for me, I think I'm still very, very far from where they are, and someday in my career, I will want to be like them. I'm honestly trying, and maybe I will succeed in the future. But that those gold standards that these people have set they had set for themselves. They never wanted me to do it probably, but I saw that that's where I want. For me, these things I get quite carried away by these standards. So if somebody's made a great ad, I honestly have it in my mind that I should make a great ad too. I should try the best campaign. So I'm very selfish about it in that sense that I want to do it. I just don't want to stand by the side and clap when somebody else is making this campaign. I'd like to be a part of it, even if I have a very small part to play in it. So I think that is what I would like to build a team. I think the second thing I would like to talk about is build a team and a support system. You can't get there, just by yourself. Management is and leadership are team sport. It's a team sport. It's not an individual sport. So even an individual sport like a tennis needs a whole lot of people behind the player to get him succeed. So who's your coach? Always have coaches. There is nobody in this world who's ever come up without a guru or a coach. And these two are different people, from teachers. Teachers, some of them can be your gurus, can be your coaches. So have somebody in your life who's challenging you and who doesn't let you sit still. If you have people who are always telling you, oh my God, you've done such a great thing, you're the best in the world, then they're not doing you a service. They need to challenge you. They need to keep you on your feet and tell you when you're doing something wrong. They should be able to tell you that. So have a coach, have a great team, have a great coach, and have a great ambition. These are three things that I would say is very important for a marketer to succeed.
Very beautifully said. So, I mean, one of our key qualities in our organization, which is AIESEC, is striving for excellence, where we don't just settle for what we have right now, but we always take it higher and take it further, and we give our life towards it. So, I mean, what you just said really hit me well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the audience too connected to that, because that is something that we live by on a day-to-day basis and have been working towards ever since we got inducted in the organization. With that said, I would like to go to the questions from the audience. Meet, if we could have them on the screen, please. So Sanskar asks, does an MBA degree still hold as much of a significance in these times, especially a post-COVID world? What do you think people should have in mind when they want to get out of an MBA in these times?
I think having a formal education qualification in the area that you want to pursue is very important. I think it just shortens your learning curve, right? In 18 months to 24 months, you can learn all that is there that people have done to succeed in business. That's what an MBA course is all about. Also, I think all of us come from a certain education stream. You could be a commerce student, you could be a science student, you could be an engineer, you could be any of this. But for you to get exposed to the other areas, like for example, for engineers and art students to be exposed to commerce and understand how a company draws up its financial statements, how does it project revenues, and so on, is very important. And similarly, a commerce student, for him to know how does marketing work, will in a short and quick, in an accelerated manner, you are able to get these lessons. So I would say yes, COVID, no COVID, doesn't matter. I think you should have a formal education coming to you from the right institution. I think it's important to study in the right institution which inspires you. And I think the other thing which B schools always give you is the wonderful classmates that you always have. Right? You learn more. I learned much, much more from my classmates than I did, studying on my own. um, of course, I think we were inspired by some fantastic teachers. But I think if I have to give a kind of a weightage, I would say it's almost 50-50 as to what I learned from my batchmates who are extremely talented people. And I'm very proud of my batch, by the way. I mean, I think it shows. So, and what I learned from them has been tremendous, both inside the class and even outside the class. Their values, their personal qualities, leadership, um, fantastic. Those you will miss if you don't do this course. And honestly, this course comes at a person's life when somebody is about 21, 22, that age group roughly, and that's a right level of maturity for you to absorb those lessons. Some of these, if you're taught earlier, maybe didn't make that much of success. Yeah.
Very well. So even I'm a MBA aspirant myself, and I think the lines that we just said will definitely play a key role in me either pursuing or whatever it is. But let's see. With that said, can we have the next question, please, Meet? So Snehashish asks, "Sir, as we all know, the market is flooded with pirated softwares. How difficult does it become to maintain the originality and the marketing a product pan India?" Asking it out of marketing context.
Yeah, I think very good question. Yeah, India and other countries are places where these lot of pirated software is found. People here are able to find the right find the right technology to hack into these and sort of produce spurious content of that. So it is tough. It is tough. It makes marketing tough because clearly you have sensed a demand, but that demand is not fulfilled by your product, but by some other product for which you don't. Um, you get paid for. So let's look at Photoshop, for example. If you have we've been talking a lot about Photoshop and what it offers and all of that. So we marketed the product, but somebody can go somewhere else and buy it for free. So we've done all the hard work and somebody else gets the credit, which is not fair. But I think what is more important is this is I also see this as an opportunity. If there is hacked software available in the market, it means there's a demand. But what we need to understand is that software which is spurious, it does not have the latest features. It's got very big limitations because nobody can download the software in entirety, and that's number one. Number two, it's I think just from a value system, it's not an ethical way to run your business, right? Today, if you are downloading hacked software, you will not hesitate to cut corners in other ways. So, for example, if there are labor laws, um, you might want to violate them. If there is certain permissions you need to run your own business, to me you may try and bypass those rules. You may want to indulge in corruption. You may want to be unfair to your partners. You may be unfair to your customers. This doesn't end. So it's about, to me, the topic about spurious software is about, and pirated software is really about an ethical issue at individual levels. And I'm just hopeful that the future generations that are coming from India do not do this and learn how to run the business in an ethical manner. To me, this is a part of a unethical practice. And when somebody is unethical, there are no boundaries for how unethical he can be.
So also about quality over quantity, I suppose, wherein you actually maintain the quality that establishes a common trust between the customer and the organization, which actually makes you go to him all the time. Very rightly said, sir. It's very difficult to maintain the promise and the quality, but Adobe is doing a fine job at it, and I must say, and I truly acknowledge that fact. With that said, Meet, can we have the next question, please? So Minal asks, marketing is more about creativity. What is it that you drew inspiration from to have this creative job, and how to never run out of creativity when it comes to marketing?
So marketing is a summation of two things. I would say one is creativity, the other one is being able to analyze. So it's as much about meeting business goals as it is about creating stuff. Creating stuff is something that you do to get to your business goals. So that's a change, Mrinal. I would like you to make in your thinking that marketing is a combination of the two, right? And so, what is it that drew inspiration from? I think hard to say, but I'm music inspires me a lot. I love music, classical music, old film music, and in general any music which is melodious. So I can very easily switch my modes by listening to music, and it also inspires me for creativity. I've just realized that when I listen to music, that makes me more more ideas come to me. The other thing, I think good great ideas come when only when your mind is still. When your mind there's a lot going on in your mind, I don't think it's easy to create something new. And the so I think things like meditation help me a lot. I would like to do more of it, to be honest. I'd like to meditate more, and I would urge all of you to have some routine every day to calm your mind. I don't know what it is. I don't want to be prescriptive. You guys are very smart to figure that out, and many of you, I'm sure, have already figured it out. But make the time to for yourself. The other thing, I think, from a business perspective, creativity also comes by observing others and learning from some other totally different industry, right? So, for example, if you're leading a corporate hospital, you may want to be inspired about uh, what kinds of luxury does a five-star hotel provide, because at the end of the day, both of them are the business of providing care. So if that's the case, you if you look at another corporate hospital, maybe that you will not get the lessons. But if you look at a five-star hotel, you get new ideas about how you can make your hospital equally comfortable and luxurious, right? So in management, as I've seen, a lot of lessons have come from another industry and not really from your industry. So if you have your ears to the ground, you will catch these ways to make stuff very creative. And so nobody will give you time, nobody will give you the space. You have to make your time and space to be creative. So find out for each one of you, what is it that makes you creative. It could be somebody going for a 3 kilometer run makes people creative. It could be yoga, it could be meditation, it could be listening to music, it could be painting. I don't know, different people have different triggers. For me, it's been music and meditation. I also love movies. I love my son and I have a penchant for humorous movies, so we love watching them together. I think watching them together is the key thing here, and we sit and laugh over it for quite some time, and that's something that completely relaxes me. My wife is an entrepreneur, so every day dinner table conversation is around a new business that she's heard about. She consults for entrepreneurs, so it's a great lesson that we all get to hear on what some new entrepreneur is thinking about his business. So um, I think it's important to be in that ecosystem which inspires you. Make your workplace, for example, the place where you work, make it inspiring. Have pictures, have stuff, have colors, have music, have people, very importantly, all around you who are creative. Um, Somebody was sharing with me that your mindset is what that is of five people who are around you, whom you interact most closely with. Your state of mind is the average of those five people. So if you have, who are the five people you interact with on a daily basis? Who are those friends? Who are the inspirations that you talk to on a daily basis, or rather on a frequently basis? Who are the people who inspire you? If those people are not inspiring to you, then obviously you will not be creative, because they're all trying. They will pull down your average, if I may say. So be associated with the right people, people who challenge you, people who make you feel positive. I think that's very important for creativity.
It's very rightly said again, sir. I think it's very important to be a part of an environment that actually brings out the best in you and not to have a toxic friend circle, maybe. And generation like us, the youth right now, we are always confused about who exactly to call friends and who not to call friends. And it's very important the sooner we realize who exactly are our friends, by the time it happens, the time is already passed. And one very good thing about this COVID, if I must say, is that after stopping all doors, it has actually made us take some time back for ourselves and think about what exactly matters and what exactly should we focus upon. So, I've been seeing this a lot in my organization where people have started cooking, they've started drawing, they've started writing, and it makes us happy, that they've finally gone back to what gives them peace and helps them think. So very rightly said again, sir. Meet, can we have another question, please? So Manika Sharma asks, Sir, apart from your PGDM, what else did help you to get to place where you're at present as marketing Adobe marketing head? And how can we do the same to aspire to be like you?
So let me start with the bad news. Please don't aspire to be like me. I think that era is over, and I don't want to dampen your enthusiasm. But the fact is that corporate structures are changing a lot. So by the time you get to my age or even much younger, this corporate structures won't be like the way they are. That's for sure. So don't aspire to be head of marketing then because there may be no such position left anymore. It might change. It will change into something else. So I think don't be taken in too much by titles. They are indications. They are obviously organizations need to have a structure for communication. They need to have structure to ensure that everything is working in an efficient manner. That's why companies have structures. It's not with anything else, any other reason why structures are there. So apart from the PGDM, what else helped me get to this place is that I'm constantly learning. I think I love learning. I keep reading a lot. There are books all around me right now when I speak, and I listen to podcasts. I talk to people. Talk to people who are definitely at a higher pedestal than I am in terms of the size of companies that they run, or some great campaigns that they have done that. And always you will always see one notebook like this with me. I have filled up hundreds of notebooks writing stuff. It's very difficult to catch me when I'm not writing. In fact, I'm regretting the wonderful suggestions that are coming about books, etc., in the comments. But I'm very tempted not to go because I don't want to get distracted. So I think you need to be always learning. When you're learning constantly, you always want to do things better, right? My team expects me to come back on a Monday morning and give them new ideas, and not the same thaka hua plan that we made for years. So I challenge myself a lot and always learn from people. And I think I constantly look for inspiration coming from anywhere and everywhere. I'd just like to share an incident that I shared with the organizers earlier, which is, and that's an article that came in Brand Equity called "Share of Dustbin." So it's like this. I used to work with the beverages division and for Hindustan Levers, and we were actually touring a city called Madurai. I think those of you who don't know, it's in south of India. It's one of the southernmost cities in India. It's a place where HLL had a very high market share, and people said, yeah, we have about 95% market share. There's nothing much we can do and all of this. So there, I remember whenever we used to go to a tea stall, a shop which used to buy tea from us and make tea and give it to his customers. You go to a shop and I would say, this person buys our tea, because you just look at that, the brand boxes are all stacked right up there, so it means he's buying our tea. But at the same time, I saw my sales officer actually go around and do something, and I never understood what he did. He would go inside the shop, talk to the tea shop owner, and come back and talk to me about what is happening in that shop. So I asked him, hey, you're going inside the shop. What do you do there? You seem to be snooping around something. He told me, sir, this number that you're giving me, that we have 95% market share, is wrong. I don't think we have that kind of a market share. Just look at that dustbin. Inside that dustbin, you find wrappers of our tea, the branded tea Hindustan Liver Sense, as well as spurious tea. It is by some other company which is, mixing tea, or it's a low quality brand, and they have you can find those wrappers as well. What does it mean? That means that shop owner is just displaying our tea shop, our tea packet there to attract customers, saying that I make the best tea, but in reality he's actually mixing tea from another company and selling it. That is the true market share, because we're not selling it. So if you go and ask the tea shop owner what is he using, of course he'll say Hindustan Liver's tea, but he's actually using something else. So that is when I realized that there is that whole essence about you looking at market share, market realities to the truth, and get to that number, get to the truth about what really is happening on the ground. As managers, as leaders, sometimes we become so distant from our customers and our consumers that we don't know what's going on in their life. We just don't know what's going on in their life. We just want to impose and say, look, this is what I do, you should buy this. It's a very wrong way of doing it. People will not even react to your brand messages after some time. So yeah, so this is one story I thought I should share with you.
Yeah, so again, a beautiful story of how exactly things can be seen, a different perspective altogether to tackling real-time solutions and problems. Meet, can we have one more question? Right. So it's Meet itself is a post grad still necessary today to reach a high corporate position, or would relevant experiences and courses do the job?
I think it has to be a mix of both. I think it's important to have that kind of a qualification as you sort of go along in your career, because it immediately gives you that pedestal, right? Spending 18 months doing a course, or 2 years doing a course, might actually save you quite a bit of time in terms of your growth, because people are more accepting of an MBA or a similar qualification that's there. But here is the, I don't know whether to call it the good news or the bad news. I'm very sure your generation will have 2 or 3 careers. So what I mean by that is that all of us, all people like me, started my career in marketing. In all probability, I end my career in marketing, in doing something in the corporate world. But if you just look at your generation, I believe that the rate of change will be so fast that you will need to change your career entirely. So don't be surprised that you graduated as a commerce student, you get into something to do with that area, but progressively, see, after 10, 15 years, you will come back to school, formal education, and actually educate yourself, frequently. But I think what I would like to advise all of you is have a formal degree that helps. Second thing, keep learning. Education does not mean degrees. It means constantly learning from the environment, right? I'm reminded of a very important interview. It's there on YouTube. You should watch it. Once Bill Gates was interviewed and asked him what is the one most important trait that he would like to, what is that one most important skill that he would like to sharpen, and he said, I would like to read faster, right? So how I wish I could read faster, assimilate learning faster. So if you just look at the people who are there, they say that if you go to a rich man's house, you'll find things that he's using to educate himself. If you go to a poor man's house, you'll find things which he's using to entertain himself. I read it somewhere. I think that's important. Keep learning all your life. Your careers are going to be different. Careers are going to be very different, and I want you to be cognizant of that and not be taken aback when those changes happen. Organizations are going to get flatter. People are going to be looking at different models of working. For example, 4 months back, the number of days I would work from home would be this much. I hate working from home. I hated working from home at that point in time. But today that's become the new reality. So that's going to change. Not all offices are going to open up. This might be the permanent way we work. And in the years to come, this could, it's not just about COVID, it's about changes that are happening as we talk. and the communication, the way we communicate has dramatically changed. So it might at some point in time mean that irrespective of which location that you are based, you can still found a great company. It doesn't matter. So yesterday, if you want to be successful as an IT company, you have to go to Silicon Valley and found a company there. And I think why we end up with these dilemmas in our life is probably because of the structure and the nature of the human brain. Human brain is always basing its future decisions based on past patterns, right? So we look at the past and say, "Okay, this is the way things have moved, so it will move like that." But it's proven beyond doubt that the future is never a reconstruction of the past. Certain patterns will repeat, but more often than not, it will be a new world that is there. Look at the way speed of computing power. It's never been 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 2, then 10, 15, 100, right? So, yeah, you've got to be cognizant and make the turn. That turn on the hill is very important.
Very beautifully said again. So I think from all that you said, we can infer that change is the only constant, and change keeps on happening, and it's all a matter of seconds that we adapt to it. As much as I would really like to listen to your experiences and conversations, should keep on continuing. I'm afraid that's been our time for today. As a last goodbye note, I would really like to ask from you what would be your message to the young leadership development aspirants that are watching our show right now, and what would you like to say to them as a goodbye note?
Yeah, so guys, thank you again to everyone at AIESEC who made it happen. I'm very, very impressed by the quality consciousness of the people who organized this. All of you who put in effort to do this, I think deserve a big compliment. This whole activity started almost 2 months back. The meticulousness with which you have planned it, did several rounds of check, briefing, and got to that stage when both of us are comfortable taking it forward. I think has been tremendous. I have the opportunity to work with many organizations and speak at their forums, but I think the diligence that you have shown is much more than what your years and what your age actually. So tremendous congratulations. And at the it was a private conversation, so I should not be sharing this, but I will still go ahead and do it. I had actually asked the people who were setting this up, saying I would like to name the people and thank them personally about who all worked. What I heard from them was very, very interesting and very, very impressive. They said that look, a lot of people have worked towards making it happen, so don't take names. Just thank AIESEC. I think that's a great statement to make because it shows that the people who are running it have a process in place, have roles and responsibilities for everyone to um, perform. And that's the hallmark of a great institution. So, congratulations to all of you and wish AIESEC all the success in the future. Coming to the point about one of the greatest lessons in leadership, I'd just like to tell one story and then end it there. It's about Amitabh Bachchan. And this story is all about state. It's very important. The state, the leadership, a leader of a company, leader of an institution, leader of an organization, is somebody who's got a certain state of mind, and that state of mind, tells you everything that you need to do about your role as a leader. So what is that story? So many years ago, we had the opportunity to shoot work with Amitabh Bachchan on a campaign. And what happened was that Mr. Bachchan landed in Bangalore and very early in the morning, and we had to go to many places. So and he was you could see the age when he landed, and then we were sitting in the car and we were going around to all these places. And what happened there was that just when we were starting, somebody came and told him that, sir, the family which has really helped us put this event together. At the end of the day, if you can just talk to them, they'll feel really good about it. So we went all over Bangalore. It was a very warm day, I remember. And then we ended up in the hotel where he was staying. And I was with him, and then he looked at me and he said, Sundar, are we done? So I said, yes, sir, it's done. So he just said, oh my God, okay. It was long day today, a lot of things to do and so on. And he was about to go to his room. Then this person who had organized this, he came running and he said, sir, if you remember, you had promised that you will meet that family. Can you come and meet him? So he looked up and he said, oh yes, of course, I promised. Are they still there? So I said, yeah, they're there. If you can spare some time, that will be very kind of you. He said, yeah, of course, but give me 2 minutes. I just come back. And he went inside. He's very tired. I could see him, walk on the stairs like this. Slowly open the room. He went inside, and I was waiting in the lounge. And suddenly he came after 5 minutes, and he said, "So Sundar, where are they? I want to meet them." So and he went straight, and he went to the place they were meeting, and he looked at them and said, "Oh my God, so nice to meet you." And he spent about 10-15 minutes with them. Those guys took enough pictures till their batteries died down, I think. And it was a family, husband, wife, 2 children, and they were very, very happy to meet him. And after that, he decided that, okay, I think I need to go back to my room. And he started walking up and he said, Sundar, are we done? I said, yes. And he said, okay, now I have to go and sleep. So then he looked at me quizzically and said, you're wondering what's happened, right? So yes, I said, yeah. I mean, I still had that daze on my face. And he said, okay, let's go inside. And he sat down and he told me something. He said, Sundar, never forget I'm an actor, right? So I was asking him, what is the secret? He just looked at me and said, look, don't forget I'm an actor. The people who have come to meet me want to make the action hero Amitabh Bachchan, not one tired old man, right? So if I go in front of them without that energy, it'll be wrong on me. And sometimes I don't have the energy today, but I can't disappoint them. So I went with all the energy, and I'm an actor. I can fake anything. But I think what's important to me was the lesson that I learned in that state, that you are the action hero, is something that is driving all his actions. And if you have that right state of mind, you can do anything in your life, right? It's always your attitude, it determines your altitude. So it's just that mind state. If you believe it can be done, you'll do it. Can't you recollect examples in your own life? You surely do, right? So fall back on those experiences to develop the right mindset. Everything that we spoke about today is all about developing that right leadership mindset. And unfortunately, you have to develop your own mindset. You can't borrow somebody else's mindset. It could have worked for him, but it did not work for you. So take whatever I've said here. You've heard me. Hopefully you've taken some notes. But I want you to think for yourself and come up with your own leadership manual. And someday, AIESEC Bhubaneswar will invite you as a leader on this show. And I would love to attend that. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. It has been amazing hosting you, sir. Good night.
Thank you so much.